Remember when they told us he was Mr. Empathy, Mr. Save the Soul of our nation? He's not. He isn't. He's a really mean, nasty, and profane man. This just happened a little while ago at the White House. Somebody wanted to ask a question about inflation. Joe didn't like it and muttered something under his breath that we can hear.
Do you think inflation is a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Stupid son of a... Wow. That's pretty nasty for a guy who is all about our precious norms. It's only the latest screw-up. Of course, a much more serious, catastrophic one happened last week. And guess who's going to have to pick up the pieces? Again, the United States military. Because Joe was so incredibly weak and confused at that press conference last week, he has to look tough now. And how do you look tough if you're the United States of America? You start ordering troops around. Presidents really love that. Joe doesn't know the military very well. He knows about Bo. He likes to say, God bless the troops, but I don't think he really cares. Remember when we lost in Afghanistan? That horrible, horrible series of weeks, and we brought the body bags back, and what was Joe's reaction? Can we get on with this already? I'm sorry, are we holding you up, Mr. President? So what do I mean about the troops moving? Well, we are moving. Reportedly, they're considering moving thousands of troops around Europe in the Baltic states, and this could be a real hassle, all right, for the troops. You know, even in peacetime, even in preparation or as a deterrent measure, moving a large number of troops around is a huge burden to the troops. Sometimes people get hurt while doing that. Now, I know this is what they signed up for, and that's okay. Presidents, we've had lame presidents before, and we'll have lame presidents again. And often, the military will pay the price for their ineptitude. It's happened before. George W. Bush brought us to Iraq, weapons of mass destruction. I believe he wanted to look tougher than his father. Who knows what was going on inside his head? But the troops paid a very big price for his incompetence. How about Iran in 1980? Jimmy Carter totally blew it when it came to the hostages, and he was feeling the heat. He was running for re-election, so he threw together and scotch-taped a plan to rescue the hostages. It was a bad plan, it was poorly executed, and the results were catastrophic. Lyndon Johnson could not manage the Vietnam War, and it nearly broke him, and it nearly broke the country, and it literally broke nearly 60,000 U.S. troops. So, back to Joe Biden. That horrendous press conference, you know, the mistakes were so egregious, even Democrats. I mean, I know in the Beltway, people were shocked that he blew it this badly. Now, the media, they're still covering for him in big ways and in small, but this happened. It's part of the historic record, and I don't think he can ever recover.
I'm not so sure he is certain what he's going to do. My guess is he will move in. He has to do something. Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, et cetera.
A total green light to our adversary to invade another country. Now, they're trying to minimize it, but they know, not even deep down, they know. They'll even tell you behind the scenes that this was as bad as a presidential mistake as you can make. Now, they've been out there trying to pick up the pieces, especially Tony Blinken. Now, Tony doesn't have too much experience. Tony is, well, he's a bit of a wimp. He's, well, you tell me, does this seem like a strong leader? Do you think Vladimir Putin is going to listen closely to this guy and maybe even be intimidated, take the cue from the United States? I don't think so.
It's important that people look at the whole range of things that Russia could and may be preparing to do in Ukraine. We have a responsibility to see the diplomacy through for as far and as long as we can go, because it's the more responsible way to bring this to closure. I think it speaks to the fact that, as always, Russia develops lots of different options for doing things, including in Ukraine, and this is one of them, and it's something that people have to be aware of. We are now sharing our own ideas.
And I think we're going to have baseball practice, and maybe go to soccer practice, and then maybe you can sleep over my house, and then listening to this guy, I'm tempted to invade Ukraine. I don't want Ukraine invaded, but this is weakness. This is bad. What you need out of a Secretary of State, if you don't have it in the president, maybe in a Secretary of State, a guy who knows how to kick a little ass, all right? Henry Kissinger, Al Haig, Mike Pompeo. You need somebody strong in this office. And quite frankly, after we blew it in Afghanistan, the idea that the fact that everybody in the Biden administration still has their job, okay? Nobody was fired after this ridiculous failure. And now they're calling the shots in Ukraine. That's a problem. That's a big problem. But I don't know if this is a silver lining or a reason for optimism. I'm pretty sure Joe and Kamala, they're not going to make it 4 years. I know they look all happy together. We all know this is not a happy relationship. And it looks like Kamala Harris is barely hanging on. If you were confident in your job, you wouldn't be going around telling everybody what your job is. Here's what I mean.
I will repeat myself, and I'm Vice President of the United States. But more important, I'm Vice President of the United States. Anything that I handle is because it's a tough issue. And I'm Vice President, and my name is Kamala Harris.
Wow, and I'm Greg Kelly, and I'm the host of the show here at Newsmax. Once I start saying that, you know I'm probably not long for Newsmax, okay? There's something going on here now. I'm hearing, and this has been reported at times, that they're looking for a way out for her, and it just might be the Supreme Court. If they get Justice Breyer out of there, that might be a place for Kamala. Look, presidents and their vice presidents have gone down before. The entire ticket has gone down in flames. Nixon and his vice president, Spiro Agnew. People forget it, but Spiro did not last. He lasted less time than Nixon did. He had to resign, even though he was pretty good. He was much better at his job than Kamala.
I'm not asking for government censorship or any other kind of censorship. I'm asking whether a form of censorship already exists when the news that 40 million Americans receive each night is determined by a handful of men responsible only to their corporate employers and is filtered through a handful of commentators who admit to their own set of biases.
Great speaker, deep thinker, but ethically, looks like he was taking kickbacks when he was governor of Maryland. Open and shut case. He had to resign. It was kind of unthinkable at the time, but that's what happened. And Gerald Ford, congressman from Michigan, was sworn in. Both the House and the Senate had to confirm him. He wasn't the speaker. He was high up in the Republican setup hierarchy. Gerald Ford. And then Nixon resigned, of course. And then Gerald Ford became president. Something like that could happen again. I'm not saying how or when, but it's not inconceivable. It has happened before. And a little bit on Kamala and Joe. They really don't like each other. Yeah, they ham it up for the cameras, but what happened during the campaign, neither one is going to forget it, especially Joe and Jill.
So that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
I have supported the ERA from the very beginning when I ran for the Biden, 30 seconds.
You don't get over that, all right? That's bad blood. It's not going to get better when they're smiling. It's all pretend. This is fake. You want to see true love, though? I think this is true love. Yeah, Kamala Harris and Barack Obama. Now, there is a friendship.